Today's guest is Niko Micin.
With the soft ch.
Soft ch. I'm trying to pronounce it. As it also we had we always think of what do you do? I asked you a couple of questions earlier. We're trying to figure it out. It's brokerage and investment in commercial real estate. Hopefully I got it right.
That's correct.
That's correct?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you.
We have to cheers in the beginning.
Thank you for having me. Cheers. To
Cheers.
our roots.
Again, welcome. We finally made this happen. We spoke a long time ago, but I guess we were all busy trying to organize our schedules and everything to do this kind of show.
Yeah. You know, America isn't really like back home where you get to drink coffee all day and spend time with friends. Here, you actually gotta do some work.
Gotta do some work.
Some work.
A lot of work or some work?
Some work.
I'm always trying to figure that out. Is it like a lot of work? How much we work back home? How much we work here? It's really a huge topic to discuss. I mean, let's start with right now. If you can explain what do you do, how your job looks like, something like that, so you can introduce yourself and we can go from there.
Okay. I was maybe thinking about starting out how I came to
that sounds that sounds probably even better. If you can go reverse engineering, we go from the beginning. You're right.
Okay. Yeah. Just to kind of set the stage for everything else. So I came here in 2005. I was recruited by University of Washington on their swim team. It's a Pac-10. Well, actually, it was Pac-10. Now it's Pac-12 school, and I chose it because of its academic strength. It's, I think, now top 13 school in the world, public school in the world, and they offered me a full ride to swim for the university. So. Among other colleges that I got offered scholarships from, this made more sense because from what I've heard from my other swimmer friends is when you leave your home country at the age of 18, it's important to have people from back home there. And I already had two Croatians on the team, so given the academic aspect, knowing that I might not be a swimmer forever. It kind of made the most sense. So went there, had a pretty much a very impactful culture shock. I went through the whole phase of first 2 weeks being absolutely ecstatic of being in the US and learning all these new things until within the month I figured out that, holy fuck. This
bad holy fuck or good holy fuck?
Not a good one.
Not a good one.
just to be clear, if I ended up in Miami right off the bat, it would pretty much be a good holy fuck. But I ended up in Seattle, and being a kid from the city, from Zagreb, we like to go out a lot. We like to have fun. We're very, I'd say, emotionally intelligent by that age, and you kind of know what you want. But coming to Seattle was just a shock because the mentality of the people there was something I just couldn't understand. And so when you see America on TV, it's a pretty different image than what it actually is in real life.
You're trying to say it's not like in the movies? I always thought it's the same. I was still trying to make a different picture in my head, but I think I'm always trying to think it's like, okay, it is like in the movies. Something's wrong with you. You're seeing things differently, but I guess you're saying it's not.
Well, I will tell you. I mean, did you come to Miami initially?
No, actually, I was in Alaska working for like a summer. Then we came to Miami. Well, I traveled around, trying to find that ideal movie image.
The sweet spot.
Yeah, but Miami is the sweetest so far. So we'll see.
I will tell you, Miami is like the movies. I think Miami is actually better than the movies, and that's one of the reasons why I'm after 4 years of being here, I'm absolutely in love with the city. I mean, still to this day, I discover new things in the city, new things to do, and whichever realm you're interested in, of music, arts, nightlife, especially. I mean, you have it all. Especially for the line of work that I do as well. But either way, so spent 4 years on the swim team. Did another extra year of school since you only get 4 years of eligibility to be a student athlete, and had a pretty bad time just because the understanding and the relationships that people have in, maybe on the West Coast specifically, especially the Pacific Northwest, the dynamic is, it's hard for me to pinpoint it, but they're not really emotionally open. And a lot of times I find myself not being able to have a real conversation with people. It's all very much, imagine there's a wall right in front of you and a wall in front of me, and we're only talking in the space in between. People aren't really, talking from their hearts, and a lot of times people will get offended because they have never got a chance to explore this space in between where somebody's giving you a hard time or messing with you, but it comes out of love. It doesn't come out of somebody trying to offend you. So, and I went a little bit deeper trying to understand why this is, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But at that point, I realized how special the Balkans are, how special the countries that we come from are. The experience that we get in high school, where you actually, through relationships that you have with other people, you get to find out more about yourself and who you are. People don't get that opportunity here. In high school, you get, you're switching every semester. You have a different set of classes that you choose that you're going to take. Well, back home, they stick you in a classroom with 25.
This is what
people.
you get. Make it work.
Make it work, and it's you end up spending every day with each of these people, and you're gonna like some people more. You're gonna like some people less.
But you bond with everyone. You want it.
But you bond with everybody because you don't have a choice but to spend time with them. And then what happens is you actually get to know these people. And so what, at least that was, back in the day when I went to high school, is you don't have those labels like you would have in the US. Oh, those are populars. Those are jocks. Those are nerds. Those are punks. Those are emos. Those are skaters, where it's nothing like that. Back home you have, okay, that's John. I like him because of this and that. Oh, he's also a skater or a punker, or he's a athlete. Or
but you still hang out almost with everyone. There's always
you hang out with everybody.
Closer with someone, but
exactly. You hang out with everybody, and I feel like that gives you such an emotional spectrum as a person to understand yourself much better because you have that comfort, you have that base. Well, in the US, I'm really not surprised, and I'm going to touch upon this, with all the school shootings and everything, because look at how much bullying that there is in the US. I mean, we kind of have that back home, but it's, I feel like people do get to connect on a more deeper level. And, because you see them for 4 years, you have no choice.
Yeah, it's gotta make it work. Gotta bond. Gotta actually, you're spending like 7-8 hours a day with certain people in the same classroom.
Yeah,
and you gotta bond around someone. Classes are boring most of the time, so you gotta do something interesting. You're always talking. You're always doing something with your friends. So that's why here you're focused on elective classes, and then it's a little bit different. You here give them a lot of options. Kids get confused. You want to try this, you want to try that. Somehow I feel in high school we're more advanced in a way, even with those different kind. I think education maybe is not that great, but still it works. Then college is kind of a little bit different. You probably know that better. College level is kind of different than over here than back home.
It absolutely is, and I think when you sum it up, I think our high schools are better than the U.S. high schools for a number of reasons. But I think what you actually get in the Balkan high schools is the opportunity to learn street smarts. Kids here can't do that because they have all these rules. They have all these rules that they need to follow. So they need to do everything by the book, right? Well, for us, it kind of preps us by the time we get here to understand how things work, because you'll know that for us, no isn't set in stone. It's not a real
whatsoever.
Answer. It's like, okay, it's a no now, but there's always a way to change the no into a yes. And I'll relate this a little bit later to what I do is, being street smart really is what we get in high school, and just being a part of a part of that society over there.
And how you're raised also, high school is just like a peak of their raise. You're like 14 to 18, you're growing up as a person.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a friend of mine, his dad actually, he went to like 30-year reunion or something like that. I remember he was saying to us when you were going it was our 18th, so it was like we finished high school, so we're gathering. He's like, man, I just went to my 30th. All the people I met right now, they're all the same like they were 18.
Yeah.
They haven't changed. We're 48 right now. They're the same. Nothing changed. So high school after 18, it's almost like set in stone. Not a lot of people change after that, especially if you're in, depends where you're from, what area, what do you do, but just majority of people don't change. So after high school, you are who you are.
And that's true. And that's why I feel it's so important to have these relationships in high school, because they help you just shine a light on who you really are. And I mean, imagine this, you're, like you said, you're spending 8 hours a day with the same people. You're going to get an opportunity to bond with everybody and get into a fight with everybody, right? But that's the good stuff. I mean, that's how you really forge a good relationship. And the way that you react to certain people in certain situations that you actually get within those 4 years really show you who you are and how and what you need to work on and how to get better. So, to get back to the whole topic, I realized very shortly after arriving to the US that, wow, I mean, we are so lucky, so lucky. And, it was really tough 4 years training at, for the team and room and board. So I didn't have to work. And I just went to college and actually received a real college experience. Frat parties, sorority girls.
It took you 5 years, but you made it to that.
I made it, and believe me that I enjoyed that.
That's the thing we see in the movies. I think everyone wants to go to school here just because of that.
And the way they make it seem in the movies that girls are coming in those schoolgirl dresses and they're all hot. Absolutely,
especially not in Seattle. I imagine.
Especially not in Seattle. I mean,
if it was Miami, I can see those things happening.
If it was in Miami, yeah, I could definitely see that happening. But Seattle, oof. Right. I will tell you.
Tough luck in Seattle.
when you come from the Balkans, the birthplace of most models in the world, and then come to Seattle, that's tough. I will tell you that's tough. But like I said, that was behind me. And then I finished in 2010, and I was thinking, what to do at this point. And I wanted to go back home because I was sick of it. It's raining all the time. People are boring. Girls are.
You didn't come all the way here to be disappointed.
Seriously, I mean, I did get a great education, a great diploma from Michael G. Foster School of Business. I majored in finance and international business, and it was a great experience school-wise. I really felt that I learned a ton. What we would do, and I do want to bring this up because I think it's important, talking about, the work, is you're not a number to the professors there. I mean, the tuition is pretty damn expensive, so you shouldn't be a number. But they give you their cell phone number, and they say, guys, if you need to reach me up until 10 p.m. about homework, exam, or anything like that, here you go. Okay? When you come to class, most of them will tell you right away, look, first part of the week, you have lecture. Then the second part, you're actually supposed to, what you did in the lecture, you have a case study, whether it's Harvard or whichever one, the business school study, where you need to spend about 5 or 6 hours going through this case study and applying the knowledge that you just acquired at the beginning of the week. And they'll say, I will call up on each and one of you. If you're not ready, let me know before class so I don't embarrass you in front of everybody.
That's nice to know in advance. Got embarrassed well enough times.
Exactly. So instead of, being, I'm not, maybe I'm not interested. No, you want to go and you want to prove yourself. So what happens this next class is that you guys go and joust. You joust with, okay, what's the answer to this? He says that. I say something else. She asks why. And it's like
a debate.
It's like a debate, but it's this incredibly interactive environment where you actually learn practical knowledge. At the end of every year, we would get a company. We worked for Starbucks, Boeing, Leviton. Leviton is nobody knows about it, but they're a big private company that produces the outlets and light switches and things like that. And I think at that point they were doing about 9 billion in revenue every year. And so we worked for all of these companies when they would have an international market penetration study.
So you're doing case study for those companies. It's like a real job, almost a real project.
It's like a real job, and the companies would usually come to us and tell us, guys, you did a better job than the employees at our company. If you need a job after college, give us a call. Because the teachers are there with you, the professors are there with you throughout the whole process. So with Leviton, we had to figure out, of the 10 countries they gave us, which would be the country they should go into and why. And I'm talking about from understanding everything about the country, quotas, taxes, bureaucracy, understanding what the landed cost is for the product to come from China, then to Seattle, then to
so whole thing. Did they pay you for the guys doing that? This is just so they kind of save money. They're like seeing our employees are doing this. Let me get another company to take care of this kind of. Was the investigation of the foreign market or whatever. Yeah. So that's really a cool idea.
It's a great idea. I mean, it's how you leverage a university to get work done for free. And believe me, what we've done, it was probably, what is this?
How many people usually on a project in school?
There was about 3 of us on each project.
Oh, that's cool. So, and you work with a professor?
Yeah. But I mean, he's there to moderate.
Of course,
you out, but you're doing all the legwork. I mean, you're calling the shipping companies and trying to understand, to understand how much of each product you're supposed to ship, and how much it can fit into each container, and then you got to figure out a discount on containers and the time, and you got to talk to agents, and
it's like a real world experience.
It's like a real world experience. I mean, it was a real.
And you're
job.
Still in college.
And you're still in college, and so I came back to Croatia and. I love Croatia. I love the Balkans. Wanted to live there. And then I realized that they said that, okay, sure, you have a great diploma, but in order for us to certify it, you need to go to a college here at home for another 1.5 years. And then also do a diplomski rad, a thesis.
Yeah,
you got to do your thesis. And then we'll admit and certify your diploma.
So you decided you were thinking about moving back to Croatia.
Yeah.
You were done with the United States in a way.
I was done, yeah.
So you went there and then you asked around, can I use my diploma? So they asked you 1.5 years, extra school.
1.5 years of extra, and I already went to school for 5 years, right? Top 15 in the world.
Oh my God.
And they go and you got to do all these things. And I'm thinking, you guys are absolutely out of your goddamn mind. My education cost $250,000. And I'm probably more qualified than, no ego, no arrogance, but just based on the experience that I get there, more qualified than most people in the damn country. And now, I mean, what are you talking about? So that was the turning point where I said, no, I'd rather go back to freaking
Oh my God,
Seattle.
it's like worse or way worse?
Yeah, I'd rather go back to, and then also I realized, because it was 2010 and the recession came in.
Those are right after recession? Like a year or something?
Yeah, so in the US it came in 2008, but there was a lag time until it came to our part of the world. And it was about 2010 and it really hit hard. And so I was thinking, okay, even if I do find a job, I'm going to be working for maybe 1,000 euros net a month. And then I made a calculation, okay, if my college invested in me $250,000.
You need like 20 years to pay it off.
Yeah. It's gonna take me way too long to to make the return on the investment. So I said, okay, you know what? I still have 1 year on my visa. I'll go back to the US, and I did. And then I'm just gonna go short through this. Worked as a PR and a marketing director for a fashion designer in Seattle, and then I was putting together his fashion shows and things like that.
Is that a little bit more interesting in Seattle?
It was definitely more interesting because. In this one certain area, I would get the cream of the crop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, finally something.
Finally something. Yeah. And yeah, so as I was doing this and presenting his clothes everywhere and everything on this one fashion show, one of his models didn't show up. And but keep in mind, I was still swimming professionally. getting paid some money, but did it out of love. And I was in ridiculous shape. So this model didn't show up, and he was like, "Okay, take your shirt off, put this on."
So you got another job with it.
So I did that, and a bunch of other designers were there who knew me from before, but they didn't know, what it looked like under a shirt. And then after the show, they're like, "Oh my God, you gotta wear our stuff, do this," and then there was this designer from the Philippines, very cool guy, took us to New York, and we just did a bunch of fashion shows.
You're modeling, or you're part of the fashion?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I never considered myself as a model, but it's like it was mostly.
You did photo shoots and whatever.
Not photo shoots. It was mostly fashion shows.
Just fashion shows. Okay.
Underwear, and I mean, I was.
That's a new experience.
I was a swimmer. They wanted that, but through that, I met my current boss, and given how easily offended people are in Seattle, when I met this guy, I thought, wow, this guy's cool as hell, And then we ended up seeing each other on another fashion show, him and his wife, and then we exchanged contact information. I had no idea what the hell he does, but they offered me a job, and this is where we get into what I do today. So they do commercial real estate. Right. And what they focused on was commercial real estate locally in the Puget Sound, which is this area of Washington State, where all the big cities are. And I knew nothing about real estate. I mean, I probably knew less than than that chair over there. I didn't understand why people would buy real estate, what the point of the whole thing is. And, I was clueless.
How did you get interested in that? He gave you a job offer, how he's like, okay, I like this, I want to try it out. Is there any?
No, because I needed a visa.
Oh, so you need like someone sponsor your visa, so you can. So that was like, okay, he's gonna do it. Let me just try it out. Why not?
Look, I was I was a financial. I wanted to be a financial analyst, right? Which is a back office job, which doesn't really go well with my personality. But I liked finance. Like I would see numbers, and I'd be like, okay, let's figure out how we can make this work. How can we get this return better? Where can we, somehow I like that. And they asked me, so what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a financial analyst. They're like, well, we don't have room at the company for a financial analyst. Do you want to be a broker? And I said, yeah, no, I'm from Croatia. I'm not gonna go cold call people and make a fool of myself and like sell stuff and offers. It just
sales, and you got to be the kind of person to do that.
Yeah. No, it seemed like very. I mean, no offense to anybody. I mean, I do it now. No offense to myself, but like it was kind of below me, and I always thought it was kind of like this was commercial real estate. It wasn't.
So you're calling like salespersons from other big companies, by the way. You're not calling people. You're just calling the companies.
No, I'm calling people.
People that work for the companies, or
I call everyone. I'll call your mom.
If
give me your number, I'll call it. But no, it's. I'll get to that. But the point was that they wanted me to be a broker, and they kept pushing this whole time, and I just didn't, I didn't want to do it. I want to be a financial analyst. So they said, okay, fine. Why don't we do that? And so I did that for a little while until I got a good grasp of commercial real estate. And all of a sudden I kind of realized, okay, this is why people would buy this. They're making, there's cash flow, there's appreciation in the long term, and it kind of makes sense. But I went through this whole personal catharsis where I found myself, getting the visa, doing this whole thing, where I realized that it wasn't a job that I was looking for. I was looking for what kind of a person I am and what I wanted to do in my life.
But that's after you got the job and secured your visa. So first you have the safe ground so you can actually start focusing on yourself.
I didn't even get the visa yet.
You not yet?
I didn't get the visa, but I was in the process for the visa, right? And this was a work visa. This was in 2010 when the whole thing wasn't
It was an ideal market to get a visa, ideal job market.
Because it was a recession. I think they were giving out only 60,000 visas, and there was 80,000 applicants, or maybe 80,000 visas and 100,000 applicants.
Especially real estate, it was a crash. So if you're getting a job in real estate, someone sponsoring your visa, companies go out of business, it's all disaster, and you're getting sponsored by someone. We know it's tough to get a visa, someone to sponsor. It's a lot of paperwork,
for a work visa. It's really tough,
especially after that time. I don't think
No, at that time it was easier because look at this. It was a recession. Not a lot of people were coming in, right? Because today they'll still be giving out 60 or 80,000 visas, but there's 300,000 applicants. So now what you have is a lottery, and if they pick you, then they get to process your visa. If you've done everything right, you're gonna get it. Not, bye bye. Then there was no lottery. So I was lucky in that regard. So I did manage to get it. I think it took maybe 6 to 8 months. But what happened is, the first 2 weeks when I came to the job, I was ecstatic. Again, I went through the whole phase is when I came to the US. I was like, holy fuck, I'm here. I have a job. I'm going to learn something. It's going to be amazing, right? And then after 2 weeks,
again with the 2 weeks, the excitement starts. You come here again, right? You start, you're getting things done, and then boom.
It's like, holy fuck, what is this? Like, is this what I really want? Right? And so what happened was, I looked at it. 2 more weeks passed, and the excitement slowly went down. And then another 2 weeks were going by, and I started feeling anxious and just not good. And then the 7th week came, and I started losing my mind. I was like, okay, I'm here from 8 to 6 at least, if not 7 or 8. I'm in Seattle, which I just don't like. There's no sun. It's constantly raining. It's just dreary. And so, what am I doing here? Why am I doing any of this, right? And it just didn't seem like, I felt trapped. And so at that point, I remember coming home one night and just being, okay, you know what? Let me just pull everything back, right? And I think, and this is maybe advice that I would give to anybody, because once you make this decision and set a course for yourself, the universe is going to open up and give it to you. But you got to be clear with yourself of what you want. So my problem was that, I was working so much, I couldn't go in the middle of the day to swim or work out, just to, get my head clear. And it started wearing down on me. So I sat down in the bed and I was thinking, what is it that I want in life? Because I'm obviously at a juncture right now where I'm actually having a real job, getting a visa. I'm in the US. I'm alone. Like I'm far from my family. So what do I really want, right? What is it that I want to do, and what kind of a life do I want to live? So I realized that whatever I do, I want it to be something that brings other people value, something that helps, something that makes other people's lives better, right?
It makes 2 of us right now.
There you go. There you go. Exactly what you're doing right now is exactly what I was thinking about at that point. Is how can I help others, right? Because helping others, for me, giving is receiving. I receive when I see a smile on somebody's face, or when I can help somebody. It's innate in me. It just makes me happy, right? So I realized, okay, I want to do that because that's going to fulfill me, and that's going to make it feel like it's not a job. And that's very important, because how many people actually hate their jobs, right? The second thing was, I wanted to make a lot of money, not a lot, but like I want to have enough money that I'm very comfortable. And then number 3, I want to have enough free time that I can spend that money on the people that I care about, on having good times. And it was an incredible moment, because it was such a moment of clarity that it just set in and became just a part. It was always a part of my DNA, but it was just a realization that this is what it is, that this is what I should be doing. At that point, for the next probably 2.5 years, I didn't think about what I was going to be doing. So within the year from this moment, I became a broker. Well, I became a broker. I was still on a doing the financial analysis stuff, but the goal was, because I realized the main broker at the company was not. He'd come in the office at any time that he wanted. Nobody asked him any questions, and he was making about $800K a year.
Nice. So he had a flexibility, and he can do whatever he likes. He's working for someone, but he's his own boss in a way. Exactly. If he provides enough money, enough value for the company, exactly, they don't ask him that many questions.
Exactly. And I'm not a person really that does well with authority that's not deserved. You know what I mean? If I can learn from somebody, yes, I'll be there. I'll listen. But otherwise, no bueno. And so that's kind of what happened is, I went through this whole process of turning into a broker and having to make cold calls, and it kind of had everything that I wanted in a job. And by that point, I realized, I'm not going to be going around, showing houses and, selling homes and being, this house has the rustic charm of 1872, 2 bathrooms on the south side of the house. It wasn't like that. It was actually, I realized it was a very, very, very challenging position to be a good broker, right? You got to know it, because you're, in a way, it's like you're owning your own business. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be an expert at what you do. You need to know how to do all of the marketing. You need to know how to talk to people. Psychology is very important in this whole process. And regardless that I have my client's best intentions in mind, a lot of times they don't have trust at the beginning, right? So you need to establish that. You need to understand right away what kind of a personality is on the other side of the phone. And so all of this together just proved to be a challenge, which I had wholeheartedly accepted. And so I went on that path, and I did not have a mentor, right? My boss, as much as I love him, great guy, but his ability to transfer knowledge is absolutely terrible.
Did he be tried or not?
He would talk to you like as if you already know everything, right? So he came to me and said, "Okay, find us some buildings to buy." So I said, "Okay." I mean, and this was right at the beginning.
Google buildings for sale. That's as much as you knew at that point.
That's as much as I knew. So I'd go. We have these systems, CoStar and LoopNet today, as well as Crexy and Showcase. And so went on there and, looking for properties for sale. So I just print out 5 properties that are for sale, bring it to him. And I say, what about these properties? And he goes, "Yeah, what about them?" I'm like, "Well, you said you wanted me to bring you some properties to buy. Here you are." He's like, "Okay, but why would we buy this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Why would we buy this? Like you haven't taught me anything. I have no idea. What I didn't even know what we did at the company. It was crazy." So, little by little, I learned. And the problem is, and this would be a good advice for anybody, who kind of figures out the direction of where they want to be. Find a mentor. Find somebody, or when you're picking to work for a company, you need to understand, and this is extremely important. Once you know what you want to do, if you know what you want to do, understand that there's going to be about 3 to 5 years where you're just going to be grinding. Forget about having fun. Forget about, cutting corners. You want to set yourself up for the rest of your life, right? So, and it's most likely only going to be 3 to 5 years of your life where you're going to have to hunker down and really learn your skill.
And it's not even that bad of an investment. Think about it, 3 to 5 years versus whole life.
Exactly. But the problem is, when you're that age,
you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that. You're thinking, shit, I'm young. Like I want to have fun.
That's what maybe
you know?
Seattle helped, like you said. The Seattle,
Yeah. Seattle was, and
not
that's
that
why
many distractions.
zero distractions. If anything, it helped me focus. I mean, there's no clubs, bars close down at 1:30. People aren't that interesting to talk to, so it's like I'd rather stay home and do real estate. So I think it's just very important to kind of be clear with yourself that, and just understand that once you reach an expert level, you'll never be hungry again. Because if you're an expert at something, people need that service. They just need it. I mean, we talked a little bit ago about, Croatia and Serbia and Bosnia and all these Balkan countries. Is that, today a plumber is making much more than people working middle management in the bank. Why? Because everybody goes to colleges, private colleges, to be an economist, an attorney, all these different things that, don't really pay much. And now all of a sudden everybody's, educationally very high, and there's nobody to do these, these
Manual labor
jobs, right? So
and it's kind of demeaning for we perceive it as like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I want to have a suit and a tie and a briefcase and be all dressed up and go to work
and look important.
Yeah, look important. Just that.
Yeah, just that. And I'm thinking, and that's one of the fallacies that we, at least today, that you can perceive, because at the end of the day, a plumber in Croatia, and I don't want to say a number, but I personally know a plumber who's making probably in 1 month more than most people make in a year in Croatia. Just because there's
almost
there's
as a monopoly,
scarcity.
almost monopoly on the market, because there's no one else doing it.
Exactly, and so it's like if he feels that he doesn't want to go do the job, he'll just charge more. He'll just tell him, look, I can't come in the next month. They'll pay you more.
And you gotta have, if it's a plumber, you gotta have him fast.
You have, and especially in Croatia, where tourism is the main industry of the country, and so that's why I absolutely believe that just hunkering down and dedicating a few years of your life to become an expert at whatever it is that you decide to do is extremely important. And and maybe I'm very subjective, because that's kind of how my journey ended up being. Because for about 2+ years in Seattle, I didn't go out. I know I didn't miss much, and I was just doing real estate. I was learning. And since I didn't have a mentor, I had a lot to learn, and I didn't know which direction within commercial real estate to go in. And so, within about a year, I realized that I love real estate and I absolutely wanted to stay in it. But I didn't like, as I said multiple times, Seattle is not an area personally for me, right? It's not an area where I see myself being happy, right? But I did realize I like real estate. And so within real estate, I looked at how can I do what I do from anywhere in the world. And so I focused on, instead of on a geographical area, I focused on a product type, right? So what we actually do, we're brokers in commercial real estate nationwide, but the type of product that we focus on are retail properties, and they're called single tenant net lease properties. And what this means is that, the easiest way to describe is you have a McDonald's, CVS, Burger King, Home Depot, Walmart, name it, right? Where there is one building and one tenant. So a developer or somebody else will develop a building. They'll sign a lease with a tenant who is, let's say if it's McDonald's, they're investment grade, which means that that even if they leave the building, they're going to be paying you rent each month at the same time, right? So it's a secure cash flow kind of thing. And since I focused on this product type, there's only one lease, so it's somewhat more simple than shopping centers or multi-tenant buildings, whether it's office, medical, or whatever. and there's always a market for it, because somebody will own a multifamily building which is very management intensive, and they'll be like, look, I made a lot of money here. I still like real estate because this is the way that most investors think about investing, right? You have, in a way, three major asset classes in which you can invest. You have stocks, which can be very volatile, right? Your downside is you can lose everything. Your value can come down to zero, right? Or you can make a funk ton of money, right? So your ceiling is not there is no ceiling, right?
Nor floor.
Nor floor, right? I mean, floor is always zero, right?
In the stock market, you never know. It can be zero, probably, maybe. That's it.
Exactly, yeah. So it's risky, right? But there's a lot of fluctuation. Another option is bonds, right? You park your money. It's very safe. You're going to get maybe 2%, a year on your coupon. And at the end of the day, you're going to get exactly how much you put into the bond you're going to get at, right? But if you factor in the fact that, inflation each year is a 1.5 to 2%, what are you really getting at the end of the day? You're just keeping the value of your money maybe the same. It's not really much, right? So the third option is commercial real estate, right? And in commercial real estate, you have something that's tangible. So your downside will never be zero, right? Let me get a little wider. It can be zero if you don't buy right. And that's where we come in, right? But your upside could be pretty substantial. In the properties that we deal with, the focus is really on cash flow, because these companies like McDonald's or Walgreens, they'll sign, 15 to 25-year leases. And so you buy a building like that and you're set for 15 to 25 years.
It's a long term.
It's a long-term deal, yeah. And you own something that's tangible. The reason why people like him is when there's a recession, you're still getting your rent, and so we look at all these different factors, obviously, that go into underwriting the investment to make sure that you are buying something that, that in effect, and I don't want to go into too many details, but that in effect will achieve what you're trying to achieve with it, right? And does it actually fit in your portfolio of holdings, whether you have a mix, of bond stocks and commercial real estate or not? It needs to fit what you're looking for.
It's a lot of experience you need to have to actually being an expert on that subject and talk about that. And those said 3 to 5 years. Walk us through those 3 to 5 years, like deliver some tough moments, something you think about quitting. You're like, this is not for me. I got to do better. I don't want to do this. There's always those kind of moments in life and in career also.
Yeah, of course. And I think those moments are probably the best moments in my life in terms of just showing.
What do you think it from now? From when you're in that moment, it didn't look that right.
No. It was, yeah. Looking at it from this perspective, living in South Beach and just absolutely loving life.
But they were necessary,
they were absolutely necessary, because if you don't have those moments, you can't really appreciate these moments now. And this is why I stress that it's very important having a mentor, right? So usually what would happen in brokerage is that an experienced broker would take you under his wing. He would do a lot of, excuse my language, bitch work for the broker. But it's not really bitch work, because all of that is important for you to get the full picture and understand of every single aspect of what a broker does, right? So you're going to do a lot of that. And then you're going to learn a lot about the whole process, because, a broker does everything from, well, they shouldn't, but, he should know everything about marketing, transaction management, which is very important, right? Where you actually facilitate 6 to 7 different parties on a deal. And you need it's like managing a project, right? So you learn all these different things within that process. And so that's the way that you can learn, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong, or this is how it should be done or shouldn't be done, right? I never had this experience because my boss he basically said, I'm going to give you enough rope to hang yourself or do something cool with it. And, it's a good tactic if, for maybe 5% of people in the world. For the rest, you got to grab their hand.
Setting up for failure. A lot of people can't go through that.
Yeah, a lot of people, and I almost did it. I mean, I was of the mindset that failure is not an option, and I, at this one point this was 2013, 2 years after I started working for the company, and I had about 6 or 7 deals that I was working on at the time, and I probably worked on them for about 3 to 5 months, right? And keep in mind, guys, I mean, these deals, they take a while to close. I mean, we closed the deal on Friday, took 5 months. I almost lost my mind.
One deal.
One deal, yeah. Closing another one, I think, today or tomorrow. And that one was a little simpler, but that one was 6 months.
Those deals also can collapse, which is
they can.
So that's the biggest problem.
That's what people don't understand is how frail and fragile each deal is. That's why you need to have experience and vet the buyer, the seller, the motivation behind it, who the decision makers are, so you can identify what the risks are. Because a good broker is a broker that understands how to efficiently spend their time, right? And then once the payday comes, it's great, right?
But it needs to come.
It needs to come. And at the same time, once you factor in rising costs of office and all these different programs that you need to use,
it's a lot of management going on with finances.
A lot. But it's all worth it at the end, because as you can witness.
So you said you had
pretty good.
Yeah, you had 6 or 7 deals.
Yeah, so I had the 6 or 7 deals going on, and it was this one week in October, right after my birthday. From Monday to Thursday, every single deal fell apart. And this was, about $250,000 in commissions. My split with the company was 50-50, so 50% I'd have to give to my boss.
How long you been working on those deals?
Probably from 3 to 5 months.
All 7?
All 6 or 7, yeah. Some was leasing. One, I think 2 were sale, I was representing a buyer, and worked on it for 3 to 5 months. And by the time October came up, and things were getting pretty close to the finish line on all of those deals. And then all of a sudden,
there's a deadline on the deals.
There's not a deadline, but there's a finish line in terms of you're pushing everything forward, and like everything gets closer and closer, and then boom, you close, right?
Okay.
So we're getting closer. I think it was maybe the 11th hour on most deals, and so I keep getting calls from Monday to Thursday about each and one of those deals that they're basically falling apart. Now, since I didn't have a mentor, I didn't know, was it my fault? Did I mess something up? Did I not do something the right way? Is there something that I could do better? I have no idea. But my boss wants results, right? So I'm supposed to come to work on Friday. It's raining as hell. It's dreary. I want to shoot myself because I don't know where the hell do I start over. Who do I call? Who do I offer what to? Because I didn't have at that time I was doing a single tenant net lease. I just started, and I was doing medical office leasing and sales, where I don't think I've done a single sale at medical office, which,
and you work like 6-7 months of those and nothing is working out. You invest in yourself for months and months and
months, and you got bills to pay.
And everything collapses, and you're at the bottom of the pit, and you got to start all over.
Yeah, and
it's raining outside on top of that.
It's raining outside. There's nobody that could, I don't want to call my parents and mope around. I want to give them positive energy, if anything. So
it's tough to get that positive energy out of you at that moment.
Oh man, I think I didn't talk to them that day because I feel like they would be more sad than I am, because they'd be sad for me, and I'm just sad for myself.
That's even worse. It's like sad square.
Yeah, it wasn't even sad. It was just pure desperation. It wasn't even sadness. It was like, where do I go from here? And so somehow I picked myself up. I can't even remember that weekend. I know I went out, and probably, made some bad decisions, which, given the moment, don't even seem that bad. But, and then what happened was, I think about a month passed by, maybe 5 weeks. And I'm sending another deal to this client that dropped this deal, one of the deals. And she's like, yeah, this doesn't work for us, but I forgot to tell you, we revived that deal. And I'm thinking, what? And so now I'm thinking, am I still getting paid? Like, what's going on? She's like, oh yeah, your commission is coming in 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, holy fuck, okay, 30K. I'm getting out of the hole slowly, right? And then 2 weeks later, I went home for Christmas and coming back to Seattle. Client calls and says, hey, we changed our mind. We're actually going to get that space in Capitol Hill. Boom, 60K.
So just one thing at
one after another. And then, but keep this in mind. A week after the first deal actually hit, this was 2014, January. I was like, my boss had it on the schedule to fire me. And I would basically have to, my visa is no longer good at that point. I have to go home to Croatia with about $50,000 in debt.
As a failure.
As a failure. As a goddamn failure.
You go home, they look at you, he didn't make it in the United States.
Yeah, he didn't make it. Which for me was, I don't like failing at stuff.
I don't think no one does, but
yeah. I think it's true. Yeah. I don't have to be the best, because being the best comes at a cost that I'm not ready to give many times. But I can't fail. It's like I've come too far to fail. But it's definitely given me a lot of respect for the industry that I'm in, and for the line of work. And that's why I cannot stress enough, especially in a line of business like this, get a mentor, get somebody who's going to take you under their wing and shield you from everything that's going on while you learn, right? I wasn't shielded against anything, and that's why my experience was so tough. But now that same year, calling people, I have all this new confidence, I'm all fresh, I have more knowledge, I've just closed a couple of deals. I'm calling people very, cold calling, by the way, became my absolute favorite part of the work.
And you hated it the most.
I absolutely.
You didn't want to get the job just because of that part.
Yeah, I couldn't stomach it. And now it's great because I came to terms that my knowledge and expertise can help people, number one, save money, and number two, make money. I mean, we're making our clients, millions, right? And so what we're doing right now is, our next step in the company is, I got my green card recently. And
congratulations on that again.
Thank you. It's definitely a pivotal moment for every first generation American. And there's a partner of mine from Belgrade, and he lives in New York. And another partner of mine, also from Belgrade, he lives in San Diego. He's moving here soon. We're opening our own shop, and which is going to be both a brokerage and an investment company in commercial real estate, where after being in the business for 9 years, you just have so much industry relationship and knowledge that we can just go and now make
networking connections that actually work. After so many years, you met a lot of people, you closed a lot of deals. People have confidence in you, you have confidence in yourself, which is most important.
Yeah, exactly. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be buying more deals for ourselves than for our clients, but obviously for our clients as well. We got to keep everybody happy. But so to kind of get back to the whole thing, it's be ready to hunker down and work. I mean, it's going to be tough. I think for about more than 2 or 3 years, I worked about 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and without a mentor, it really got me to understand really the ins and outs of the industry. And I feel so confident now that I know I'll never starve. I know I'm set, for life, because even if the biggest recession comes on, and let's say the market goes down, my knowledge can land me a job at any of the big companies in the US. And so I'm, once you come to that point, you're just not worried anymore about, your livelihood, which at the end of the day is why we're here. So if you're already gonna do something like leave your country, come somewhere else, away from your family and friends and do something, hunker down and get it done. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you had a work visa. I agree. Right. And this is kind of what happens, what I've seen happen, with all of our people from, from our countries, is they'll come here and then they'll do jobs which don't necessarily require papers. Right. And then by the time they get papers, they still remain at the same jobs.
Yeah, that was one of my next questions. A lot of people get lost in that.
Yeah.
It's all right money. You can still make it happen. And then you think you're missing something. Then when you get it, you still don't move. What's your advice on people to actually start moving from that? Let's say dead end. A lot of people even know they're in dead end. It's fine. You get used to it. It's a comfort zone. It's all right. And to make that leap for 3 to 5 years, to hunker down and work a lot to actually, make something out of yourself. And it's not a lot of people make that leap. I always say maybe it's even 1%. That's why it's really everyone's in the same stories, same things. People talk about the same things all the time, and you got a network with people who are doing different things. You've been hanging around Americans or whatever, different kind of nationalities, but they all have a different story. If you're surrounded with the same people who are doing the same thing, you're not gonna advance nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things is, an advice you'll hear from a lot of people is surround yourself with successful and not even successful, ambitious people. Because success is only ambition that's been there for long enough. So you don't have to hang out with already successful people. It will help, right? Because they have experience. But I think just surrounding yourself with lively, fresh, ambitious energy will get you pumped up to do something. I think the problem is, people get very comfortable. Well, I'd say my first advice would be get out of Miami. Get out of
first, go to Seattle.
Go to Seattle and
they'll help you focus.
Because believe me, this place, if I came here earlier, I don't think I'd be successful. I really don't. There's so many distractions here. So many beautiful, incredible distractions that, it's sometimes just hard work.
How do you stay focused? A lot of you lose focus. Even you're working, it happens. To anyone. How do you regain that focus?
I mean, you're assuming that I stay focused. I have the ability to refocus. Well, look, Monday is my favorite day of the week.
That's a different thing from everyone else.
Yeah. Well, why it's my favorite day of the week is because, okay, you had the week before, you went out, you had fun, right? And now it's Monday, and you get to come in with a fresh start and just start all over again. Not all over again, but like crush it, right? So for me, my week begins on a Sunday night, right? You got to lay out everything you're going to do that week and all the things that you wanna be good at and crush it. But that's the thing. I mean, I think goal setting, and I'm not necessarily saying anything that's new. I mean, you'll hear this on any of the motivational speakers and how to be a more productive human.
Presented in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, it's goal setting. And that's why I said first and foremost, understand what you want to do in your life, what fulfills you. Because I could have been doing something else too that hits the 3 points that I've touched on, right? But I ended up in this. So figure out what is it that you want to do, because once you figure that out, then it's a lot easier because you've just set a direction for yourself. And is it going to be easy? Hell to the no.
It's easier to motivate to get up in the morning. If you're doing something that you like, I hate getting up in the morning. But let's say today we're going to do this.
Yeah.
I got up, no problem.
Yeah.
Something else. You get up, you don't like your job. Oh my God, every day you're like, oh, this day is gonna suck, and you set yourself up with that kind of attitude in the morning. Your day is gone. It's destroyed. So you got to be positive in the morning.
Yeah.
Especially that's the most important part. If you ruin your morning, that's really. I mean, we talked about last time we met the social media, how many distractions are on there. You grab your phone. You're like, I don't want to use it. Then you grab your phone. You're there for 15, 20 minutes. 30 minutes, an hour. Let me see this. And that's one of the distractions.
It's a rabbit hole. It sucks you in. It absolutely sucks you in.
So you don't want to do it, and then you still end up somehow on your phone. And if you get up in the morning, first thing, grab your phone. You stay locked for like an hour. You can't get out of it.
I showed you. I've been off my personal Instagram for about a year and a half. But we do have the company Instagram. And I showed you that when you go to, and we only follow companies that are, real estate related. But as soon as I click the explore, what is it? The search.
Yeah, what search?
The home, whatever it is, the button. What do you see on there? I'm not going to say.
A lot of distractions.
A lot of distractions.
And these keep on coming, and then you get interested. You can't be like, okay, ignore it. It's not.
Yeah, you can't ignore it. It looks too damn good. and then what happens? And to be honest, I mean, there's enough distractions outside on the street that, on the way to work, that you don't need to be on Instagram for that. So, I think, just kind of getting focused every day is very important. And when you have bad days, it's, and this is what I personally found is don't let it linger. I mean, because if you let it linger, you're planting those seeds. And this is maybe a topic, we should cover is Miami and South Beach. Having lived in Seattle, having, spent a good chunk of time in LA, visited New York many, many times, other parts of the US don't really, interest me much, but Miami, and when I'm looking at it from my own personal perspective of being as productive of a human as possible, living in South Beach has been absolutely amazing because the day looks like this, right? So I'll wake up around 6:30.
And 0.01% of people in South Beach.
Well, yeah. But see, that's true because I'm not going along with everybody else in South Beach. It's hard too. When everybody's partying, you got to wake up at 6:30, right? And don't get me wrong, I do have my frequent exceptions to that. But so let's say I wake up at 6:30. I go work out, either go, swimming, which, by the way, there's 3 damn pools within 5 minutes bike ride from where I live. So I go work out for an hour and a half, come back home, make breakfast, meditate for 15 minutes, look out my window at the beautiful, beautiful view. And then I bike to work. It takes me 7 minutes with a bike to get to work. Then I'm at work. We're grinding, grab lunch. Takes me 2 minutes to go to the restaurants, the Timeout Market, to grab lunch. And then we go back to work. And then maybe I'll work out in the afternoon, or maybe I'll go to the beach. And where's the beach? 2 blocks from the office. It's just an incredible place to do anything. You want to do yoga? You have probably 12 yoga studios. You want to go running? You can run. You want to go surfing? Go south of 5th. I kiteboard as well, so I go kiteboarding on 27.
Everything is like 2 miles square radius. It's all right there.
It's a neighborhood, and what I like about this place the best is you walk down the street and you're just saying hi to people. Where in America do you have that? Maybe Santa Monica, Venice Beach, but you don't need. I barely drive my car. I drove it now because I went over the bridge, but
there's no need.
You don't need a car. You walk everywhere, and once you become a local, it's such a comfortable place.
And you have everything, whatever you need is there. Netta lived there for two years.
Yeah,
we haven't left South Beach for 2 years. There's no need. Everything is right there.
Everything is
conveniently close.
Yeah, and that kind of maybe even gets me to the point of why people don't move from the place where they are, because from the job that they have when they don't have papers. I think they're just comfortable.
It's comfortable, and you're afraid. You're afraid to coming here. Then you actually get some kind of safe harbor, and
Mm-hmm.
it's tough to leave again. You're just getting a safe harbor, and then you have to leave another. It's really have to be adventure if you want to leave every like a year or two. We have a couple of friends that actually do that.
Yeah.
Not everyone's ready for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But then look at the jobs. It's people with a university degree from, let's say, Serbia. I mean, they all work in hospitality now, right? But I think there might be a few reasons for that. One, they make enough money in hospitality to not have to, to to go do anything else. And they think, okay, if I go work at an office, or let's say I need to be a paralegal for somebody, or I gotta, do this, do that. It's gonna be a 9 to 5 job.
And less money, do the bitch work, and then you're thinking
And you don't
short
have the freedom.
term, not long term. That you don't want to grind for 3 to 5 years. That's the problem. But that's just because you're surrounded with people who think the same.
Exactly.
And it's hard to stand out of the crowd. That's to be think differently. You're weird in a way, so not a lot of people do that.
You are, but you also need to want that thing hard enough. And it's hard to really want something and focus on something when you have all of these distractions. Okay.
That's also can be an excuse. If you ask people, what do you want right now? If I give you whatever you want, you say, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it's not even like there's no limitation, any kind of limitation. No one's imposing anything on you.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
And there's like, I'm not sure. So it's not even distraction. It's your own distraction. You thought coming here, you resolved everything.
Yeah. But check this. I mean, you're touching on a very interesting point, which would kind of open something else as well. Different topic now, but I think, if you, because people live in their own limitations and the limitations imposed by the outside. So if you tell people all of a sudden, I'm going to give you anything that you want, what is that? If you can have anything that you want, tell me what it is. Like, there are no limitations. The reason why people can't navigate that space is because they live within the realm of limitations, whether they're self-imposed or perceived that are imposed from the outside. And so, I mean, we're getting into a different realm right now, but that's the mindset that we don't have, right? And the company that we're building is, keep in mind, I spend 4 months a year in Croatia and in the Balkans.
Right? Which is kind of rare for people. If you say someone you're having 4 months vacation, it's a vacation. It's just a lifestyle almost. It's not even, it is vacation is 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I don't see it as a vacation since we work from, I can work from anywhere. Right. So a vacation for me is, I do actually take maybe 3 weeks of vacation where I'm not going to touch my phone, because, the clients can be very, very, I don't want to say needy in a bad way. It's just that they need a lot of hand holding because they rely on us to do certain things, right?
They hear people just email. They don't think about it. How can they resolve something? They just always email you. What's up with this? What's going on? It's always right now, ASAP.
It's never ending. And then when you're managing a transaction, which is, the way we set things up is we put a lot of deals under contract up until June and July. And then we manage those transactions while we're gone in the summer. They close, and then we start the process all over again, right? For the 9 months that we're here.
Is that we always, you work, everyone works. It's just money. If you ask someone what they want, it's always money. We think money is a problem.
No. But think of it this way, right? Because if you have enough money, you have freedom.
So I was going to ask you, what money is for you? How do you perceive money?
Money is power, but not in a way. Well, but then power is power is just raw energy, right? It's on you on how you're going to use it. Like our good old neighborhood friend Spidey would say, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So somebody will get a funk ton of money, they'll go buy a Ferrari, right? Somebody such as myself, I'll spend it on my friends, right? Because I cherish those moments. I wanna, and I have a ton of friends here, right? But I want to bring my friends back home here to enjoy with me, because at the end of the day, money comes and goes, right? But real friends, they stay. So if you can do something nice for somebody else.
The whole point of money, if you can't use it in a good way, is to actually evolve and actually make your life better for people around you.
Exactly. So, I I almost consider myself as a, you know, as a natural hedonist. I love the good things in life. I don't need to have expensive things, but life needs to be optimal. I need to have enough free time for working out, for spending, for socializing. Because
So that's the balance you want to have between, like, what's those balance between personal life, work life, and what's the third thing?
well, it almost doesn't even matter what it is, because it really depends on which stage you're in, right? What we'll have a stage, in our work where we're okay. Next 4 months, it's go time. All hands on deck. This is what we do, right? At that point, that's what completely fulfills us, right? But once we set that up, we have things more or less on autopilot, and things are just coming in, and we're just going through the motions and doing what we do, what's natural for us, right? Um, but the balance really is, what makes you feel good? Well, what makes you happy? What makes sense for you? Because for somebody, socializing once a month is more than enough, right? I know way too many people and enjoy way too many people's company that I can't I can't really see myself going out once a month. And it's not necessarily going out and
But why not just socialize?
socialize.
Wow, but
Yeah.
we're in some area. I mean, where we are from, socializing is like a lifestyle. It's
It is
not.
a lifestyle.
It's not. No one even talks about it. People just socialize. Here, it's kind of like, oh, I need to go and see some people. I never heard that back home. No one. People are always around you, and you just go and see someone. It's not. You're like, I have to, like. It's like a socializing. I don't think that word actually even exists. Just people are always there. You're always calling someone. You're always meeting with someone.
It's our natural state.
Yeah, it's here. You kind of have to have time once a week. Let's go. Let's meet up on Saturday. You make it a schedule to meet up with your friends. Just something like someone's home. Who knocked on your door? I was like, hey, what's up, man? Let's go. Like, oh yeah, sure, let's go. Here, but almost doesn't happen.
But also keep in mind, though. I mean, look, South Beach is different than the rest of the U.S. But if we had exactly that type of a mindset to that extent, we wouldn't achieve much.
So
we wouldn't achieve much.
That's the difference.
That's the balance. I mean, that's the balance that we're trying to reach here. And for our company, we're looking to grow it, but the main goal was, look, I would never hire somebody because I need somebody to work with. It's like, I will identify you as a person, and you won't even know. I'll figure you out. And then,
but that's your job. You're to figure people out.
Yeah, I gotta figure you out. Yeah.
Did you let's say figure yourself out in a way when you were coming here, and after all so many years? If I ask you, just what is American dream to you? This?
I'm living it.
Yeah. How do you say it in 2-3 words? Just simple. Just something like, if you can. I know it's hard to put a couple of words, but whatever.
No, I think it's really, really one word, and it's freedom. And I really want to explain this, because if Americans ever hear this podcast and this specific episode, I'm not looking at freedom the way that crazy patriotic American will look at freedom, who's never traveled outside of the U.S. Right? We have freedom back home, right? We have, let's say, democracy, right? Which doesn't really function that well. So freedom in terms of, you can make a living here for yourself, right? You can make enough money that you don't have to worry about survival, right? Because look at the people back home. They work so much. Well, most people.
Most people
who haven't.
Is it the most?
Well, let's say the people that I know, they and my parents, for example. I mean, they work so much, and you end up giving almost half of that to the state, and it's tough. It's just tough. Like, you don't have enough residual income at the end of the month to be like, oh, you know what? I want to treat myself. I want to go to Bahamas this weekend. Here,
so you socialize.
Yeah.
You have people to social. It's kind of cheaper. Let's hang out. Let's sit together. Let's talk. Let's enjoy the moment. Because you're not dreaming about Bali or Bahamas.
No, it doesn't have to. I mean, I'm
No, but
talking for us
referring.
here. Yeah.
It's for us here. We're dreaming about traveling all over the world. You want to eat because you're able in a way.
Because you're more free in that sense. See, for them, it's not even an option, right? I mean, yes, you have different things back home that make you happy, but I feel like here there is no excuse for anybody to not make it in the US. If you are willing to work, you can if you're willing to work, you can make it. And, given the fact that, we work a lot, but to be honest, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't even work that much.
But it took you a while.
It took a while, yeah. But let's look at it. I mean, 2014, I made my first money. It's 2020 now, and I've been living this life for about 4 or 5 years now.
When you think about it, it's not that much time.
It's not that much time. I'm 33 now, and
you gotta grind. You gotta put in the work.
You have to put in the work. So, and if if you're coming here and again being focused and not losing sight of what you want, I think that's the goal. So when I say freedom, I don't mean freedom. Oh, America, the free, land of the free. No. I mean, it's many, many, many free countries. It's just that I like palm trees. I like the sun. I like the beach. I like the beautiful distractions walking around the city. I like I like the climate here, and when it gets really hot, I go to Croatia, and it's
still nice,
just very, very nice. So I don't know. At the end of the day, it is freedom, because if you're willing to work and you want to make something out of yourself, this is the place.
Is there? I mean, people probably ask you for advice always. How do you do it? Some people are envious, jealous, whatever you want to call it. But you have friends who probably are your friends. They're not like that. Yeah. But if you're trying to, let's say people coming from back home, they ask me, how is everything? What should we do? I don't know. Always, and I'm trying to help them out in a way. But it's tough. There's a lot of people. You're trying to tell something to someone.
Yeah.
Let's say if there's a huge billboard with like one sentence, one word, and everyone's going by every day. You're trying to, and you're like, this needs to be there so everyone can see it. What would it be?
Okay. Wow. I mean, go get it.
Go get it.
It's like our word that we say. It's I can't tell you because it's a process. It's really a process.
Why do you go get it? Just when you see it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of influence you good. If I saw it, it would make me think like, okay, yeah, I'm getting it. I'm going.
I agree. But the problem is a lot of people don't know what they want. A lot of people have limiting beliefs, which, believe me, are there, and they can creep back in. And just knowing how to clear your own mind to understand what you want. And when you understand what it is that you want, go get it.
Go get it. So that's a crucial word. I love it.
It's like we have it in Croatian, Serbian, Bosnian language, whatever you want to call it. Ajmo.
Let's go. Let's go get it.
Yeah.
So again, we go get it. It's actually the right translation. So before we wrap it up, I was just going to give you, if you want to add something, if you want to say something about the whole experience, if you want to just summarize it and give a couple more sentences, send a message to someone, your friends, whoever you want to.
Okay. Well, just to summarize it, I'd say, if you want it, go get it. If you want it, don't come to South Beach right away. Please go somewhere else. Zero distractions. Go do you. And then once you feel comfortable enough,
South Beach will be there for you.
South Beach won't leave. Well, it's probably going to be it's sinking right now. It's going to be underwater in the next 30 years. So maybe hurry up. So yeah, I mean, it's just, this is my experience, and this was my journey, and, it wasn't easy, but that's the thing. People will look at you, and, once you've made it, they'll be like, wow, you're living the life and all that. I'm like, yeah, now I'm living the life, but please don't disregard the years of absolute misery and desperation, and it might not even be miserable, it might not even be hard, right? This was my journey. It was tough, but it made me appreciate where I am now so much more. So don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and do the hard work. And believe me, I didn't have direction like right away. It's check in with yourself, listen to podcasts. There's a lot of good content out there, and just whatever you hear, just try to apply it in your daily life, and you'll see what works for you and what doesn't. And other than that, shout out to Zagreb, to Rudeš, to Centar, to my crew, PMP, and yeah, all the beautiful distractions walking all over the world.
Great. Thank you again for doing this. It was amazing. I had real fun. It was really, really fun episode.
Yeah. Thank you, Alexander. Anytime.
Hopefully, we're going to do this soon. I'm hoping we're going to make a new season, new episode, something. We'll figure it out. It's going to be even better every time.
Okay, next time I'm bringing my own racket.
No, sounds good.
You got to try.
That's a promise. I'll keep it to it. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you.